you're seeing it down almost 6%. Apart from that, even Bajaj and Hero, both of them came out with the numbers which were below street estimates. So Bajaj came out with numbers of 3.4 versus 3.55, and Hero came out with 4.3 versus an estimate of 4.8. But the only reason, we spoke to a lot of analysts is that, over the last few days, both these counters have been hammered significantly on expectation of bad sales numbers. So a lot of short covering is something that is coming on in Bajaj Auto and Hero Motor. The four-wheeler space, the situation wasn't that bad enough. Tata Motors came out with numbers which surprised the street, so that came in above estimate. M&M, on an overall basis, it was okay, but it was the tractor sales that disappointed. And on Maruti, what everyone had anticipated weak numbers to come in, given the fact that, most of the days were wiped off because of the labor unrest. So overall, on the two-wheeler space, it's more of a disappointment, but on the four-wheeler space, it is a little bit of disappointed. But Tata Motors clearly outperformed the day.
There are signs of slowdown right now. The growth rates are much lower than what was in the first 3 to 4 months' time. So from month-to-month basis, you see it, we're at about minus 5% over July 12. The April to August, the overall market would be growing at about some 6 to 7%, including the month of August. So we expect the similar growth rate during the season time also.
TVS stock is, of course, down sharply in trade, down 6% when we last checked, over 5.5% at 36.50. Let's also talk about Infosys, another stock that's in the news, and it's lost a key executive. ET now learns that Shaji Farooq, the head of financial services for Americas at Infi, has quit the company to join Wipro. Chandra Ranganathan joins us with exclusive details on that story. Chandra.
That's right. This is another instance of a senior level exit happening from Infi in the last 1 year. What we understand is Shaji Farooq is taking up a post at crosstown rival Wipro's company. However, we do not have details on what designation he's joining as. Remember, he was senior vice president at Infosys, and he was basically the head of their financial services for Americas. So clearly he had a very senior role there, and he's been in Infosys for the last 10 years. So clearly an old-timer at Infosys. And remember, this is coming on the back of many other exits that the company has seen in the last 1 year. You saw Mohandas Pai making an exit, and then Subhash Dhar, and most recently the Infi BPO COO Ritesh Idnani also putting in his papers. So this is clearly another senior level exit at Infi at a time when it is trying to complete its restructuring process and come back on the growth track through its 3.0 process. We've also tried to get in touch with Infosys for a comment. They've declined to comment. They say that they do not comment on individual movements as far as executives are concerned. Wipro, on the other hand, is yet to come back to us with a statement, but we've heard from very reliable sources that Shaji Farooq is headed to Wipro.
Okay, Chandra, thanks much for all those details. Infi, though, holding out in an otherwise quiet market, up almost 1% in trade. Quick break. When we come back, stock ideas as always with our three experts, C.K. Narayan, Ashwini Gujral, as well as Mitesh Thakkar.
And we also get you a fundamental view on the market. Avinnash Gorakssakar joins in with a perspective. Keep it with ET Now.
This show brought to you by Cola. Opportunity comes knocking every minute on ET Now. ET Now gives you more stock ideas from the best technical analysts every day and talks to the management of the most promising companies. Breaking stories that impact your investments. Make every opportunity a profit opportunity from 8 to 10:30 a.m. only on ET Now.
Bringing the world together, building the world together. Binani Cement for generations to come.
Maximize the mid-cap advantage with India's top-notch technical analysts Deepak Mohani and Prakash Gaba. Trade at a profit, whether bears or bulls are in charge. Only on ET Now.
The Shom Panel Committee has recommended to the Finance Ministry, according to sources, that the controversial GAR or General Anti-Avoidance Rules should be deferred by 3 years.
India-Mauritius treaty will remain in force, it also gives much more certainty to the entire investor community.
When big policy changes influence the investment regime, it breaks exclusively on ET Now.
Trading Calls, India's favorite market opening show, now gives you half an hour more of the best technical calls from the top technical experts in the country, who are quizzed by the foremost market anchors. Get market-moving trading ideas and make money on a daily basis with Trading Calls, only on ET Now. Trading in commodities and currencies can be quite a puzzle. Should you look at commodity spot prices, or should you consider commodity futures? Does it make sense to invest in dollars rise, or is a volatile euro the best opportunity right now? Make the best decisions with the most informed experts, exclusives, and the smartest trading ideas with Hot Commodities, only on ET Now.
Presented by MCX.
Open your trading day with technical calls from the market wizards who have made money for millions of investors. And as markets close, let India's biggest technical analysts show you winning stock picks for the markets tomorrow. Only on ET Now.
This week on the show, will the BRIC economies continue to grow strongly? And how does India rank within that? Welcome to Global Insight with me, Punita Kumar Sinha.
India is holding a premium to Brazil, Russia and China.
Russia and Brazil just do not have the demographic weight that India and China have.
Long-term returns from the BRIC, both in economic and stock market terms, are going to remain good.
Decipher the story of the BRIC countries on Global Insights with Punita Kumar Sinha.
Brought to you by GE Works, moving, powering, building, and helping to cure the world. The all-new BMW 3 Series, superior by evolution.
This is ET Now and you're watching Markets at Lunch.
Okay, as promised, let's get you stock ideas. On that note, let's bring in our three experts. Ashwini Gujral, Mitesh Thakkar and CK Narayan as well joins in. Ashwini, you go first. Your trading calls for the day?
Well, since the bias is marginally to the upside, so Godrej Industries is a buy with a stop about 240, target of 256. Petronet is a buy with a stop about 152, target of 165. And Opto Circuit remains a sell with a stop about 122, target of 110.
Ashwini, stay with us. We've got more stocks to chat about, but let's also bring on board Mitesh Thakkar, and he joins us with a strategy on Cipla and Divi's Labs.
So Cipla can be bought with a stop at 368 for a price target of 395 to about 400 on the upside. I've got a sell on Divi's Lab. That's a stock which has been outperforming, but now is showing signals of tiredness. I think stock could correct to levels of 1090 and can be shorted with a stop at 1161.
CK, hi afternoon. What trading areas have you identified?
I'm mixing it up a bit, shorting Ambuja Cement because I'm finding weakness suddenly coming into all cement names. ACC, Ambuja, Ultratech, everything seems to be down. So Ambuja at about 183 levels, I would suggest a short, keeping a stop of about 4 points from entry and looking for an immediate target about 175, 176. I would want to go long in Hero MotoCorp, not at the current level, but on a bit of a decline. I think, the selling in this was a bit overdone. It had got into deep oversold, so I think there will be a kind of cathartic jump to somewhere near 1800 levels. So about 1760 is where I would recommend a buy, using a stop of about 1740, and as I said, looking for a target around 1800.
Ashwini, do you see some strength in some of these pharma names, Cipla and Ranbaxy?
Well, obviously, defensives remains a place which keeps your money safe and also gives you decent appreciation. So Cipla clearly should cross levels of 400 soon. Similarly, Ranbaxy we are looking at about 590. So on all declines, these two have regained significant momentum. So they can be bought on declines.
CK, what levels are you monitoring on the Bank Nifty today?
I think the indices are not really moving very much. The only thing that can be said about the Bank Nifty is that over the last about 3 sessions, it has sort of refused to budge on to the downside, holding on to 10,000, 10,100 levels pretty firmly. So I would treat that as a small positive and would be looking to build long position. It doesn't really encourage me to go aggressively long straight away. So I would build very small positions at the moment and keep a stop loss slightly below 10,000. So the long and short of what I'm saying is that I'm slightly bullish, not really turning aggressive, but then would want to nibble at some long positions.
CK, just want you to stack up Hero MotoCorp, Bajaj Auto as well as TVS Motors. While TVS Motors is a loser today, you have strength coming in for Bajaj as well as Hero. What is it that you're seeing on the charts for the entire two-wheeler pack?
See, among the three, I would rate Bajaj as having the highest trend strength right now because it's holding on to gains. It has been beaten down a bit last week, there is no doubt about it, but nothing new was expected really. On the other hand, Hero Motor is trading at about something very close to 52-week lows, so that's not very, very encouraging setup for a stock which is deemed to be extremely strong and best of the bullish setups. So, but all oversold stocks do see some rallies, and that is what I am expecting in Hero Motor. The third one, TVS Motor, was showing some bit of promise, but then that promise is not really coming through in TVS. So what I would suggest is that wait for some sort of breakout which will reconfirm the strength status. There is some accumulation sort of signal on the charts, but movement past about 40-42 is required for that to get confirmed. So until that happens, I would leave TVS alone for the moment. And for a buy, I would go with Bajaj Auto and then Hero Motor for a rally.
Okay, CK, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for joining in, CK and Ashmi, both of you with those trading ideas as always on markets at lunch. Let's shift from the technical view and get your fundamental view on the market. Avinnash Gorakssakar, founder director of MoneyInvestments.in, joins in with a perspective. Avinnash, afternoon. Thanks for joining us on markets at lunch. First up, what's your sense from here on? Is the bias likely to be a little more positive given the fact that there's finally some clarity on those controversial GAR norms and that we are unlikely to see them at least for the next 3 years?
Definitely, I think it's positive from the market viewpoint. I think, if the capital gains tax also goes, I think it would be a big sentiment booster. But clearly, I think, what markets would be obviously awaiting is finally, what gets implemented from the SHOAM committee's recommendations. I think clearly the markets now would be, probably looking at what, pops up at the ECB meeting on the 6th. And global events would possibly drive the sentiments more largely throughout the week. I think this would be this probably is just a sentiment booster and probably, may not be sustained over a longer term. But clearly, I think what happens over the weekend on ECB and what comes out, from ECB on Thursday, clearly would be awaited by the markets, because I think local macros and headwinds are clearly not going to play up on the markets. I think everybody has clearly written off the fact that in this monsoon session, not much is going to be done by the government. And clearly on the reform side also, I think, we still are in waiting mode. So I think global factors would possibly, be a key driver. And obviously the liquidity flows. I mean, August has been a very good month. So obviously, my expectation is that at least in the short term, these liquidity flows would continue to remain strong and keep the markets, fairly positive.
Avinnash, what did you make of the monthly sales figures that we've seen from the auto companies? Because clearly it's a declining trend.
I think it's disappointing because usually the second quarter is a quarter where we see some sort of pickup, post the monsoon starts. So my sense is at least on the two-wheeler side, it's really disappointing to see both Hero Honda and Bajaj Auto showing, drop in their volumes. And my sense is, I mean, possibly, in this RBI policy, if the rate cut doesn't happen, then I think it's going to be a little tough for the two-wheeler guys. My sense is clearly on the CV as well as on the two-wheeler side, I would say that for the next couple of months, we could see possibly these kind of sluggish numbers, and probably that's the reason probably both two-wheelers as well as CVs probably could underperform in the near very short term.
What about the metals pack, Avinnash? Given the overhang of how the CBI acts on the coal allocation issue, and also whether the government decides to go ahead and actually deallocate some of the coal blocks, do you think it's best to avoid metals and power stocks?
Yeah, at least for the shorter term, clearly avoidable, because I think, today we would be knowing which are the companies where the deallocation would happen. I think clearly those companies which would get impacted would obviously see, their business plans being, reallocated, and most importantly, it would be a kind of a negative on the stock. We've already seen that the CAG report has clearly pointed out, some irregularities. So I think clearly on the metal side, both pricing pressure as well as, globally, metals are not doing well. So my sense is keep away for some time. Let the dust settle down and then probably get in, because I think you would be possibly looking at good value maybe at a little later point of time.
Avinash, what about banks? Does it seem like the PSU banking lot in particular is going to